I'm a mess, y'all. I mean, that's really all there is to it. I was a little distracted leaving Sacramento and arriving in Seattle. I had a really tough conversation before my plane took off, and so I was busy reliving that. And I checked the board, and I only saw one flight to Fairbanks, and I was like, oh, all right, I guess I'm going a couple terminals away. I had to take a bus from our plane to the gate, and then a train to another terminal to transfer to another terminal. And I guess that should have been an indicator that if I were connecting, I wouldn't have to take 3 transfers to get to the next plane. But I was just like, whatever, SeaTac's really big, I don't know. And so I rode around. Took me a couple tries, finally found the gate. I get there and I'm like, okay, it's the flight to Fairbanks, and I plop down. Now, it's justifiable that I was confused because I'm supposed to fly Alaska Air back. I just forgot that I had Delta this leg, but literally in all of my thousands of flights, I've never picked the wrong airline and the wrong gate like that before. But I absolutely sat there at the wrong gate and listened to them make delayed announcements because our inbound plane was late, and they're almost done boarding, and I'm like, I actually don't know what boarding group I'm in. There isn't one on my boarding pass. And I go to the gate, and the gate agent's like, well, sweetie, this is an Alaska flight, and you're on Delta, so you don't have a boarding group for this flight. And I'm like, really? Did that just happen? I'm like, can you put me on this flight? I'll book it with points. I don't care. I already know there aren't any more Delta flights tonight, but I need to get to Fairbanks tonight. And he's like, there's a 10:45 that leaves, so you should try to get on that flight. You have to go to customer service to get help. So I'm calling Delta on my phone, running to the customer service gate, and I get there and the line is like 25 people deep. And so I'm like, maybe I'll just find another gate agent that can help me. So I'm trying to find another gate. I'm looking at the boards. There are several flights to Fairbanks, but there's 2. And I'm like, okay, they're both Alaska Air, but they're in completely different terminals, and these terminals are spread out far apart. And I didn't have good luck accessing the right terminal last time, so I know that this is going to take me a minute. And so I'm running around like a crazy person, and I'm on hold on one phone. I get to another service desk, and I'm using their courtesy phone trying to get help. Nothing's connecting, so I'm trying to get on the Wi-Fi. Nothing's running on my phone. I finally get my phone to load. I'm on like Skyscanner and trying to check every website that I can to look at discounted flights so that I can try to figure out how the hell to get to Fairbanks tonight. And I find a $50 flight to Fairbanks that I could catch, and I was like, I will totally do that. And I go to put my credit card in to buy it, and I'm like, that's for tomorrow, not today. So I literally screwed up one flight, almost bought a flight for the wrong day, caught it, looked again, found $100 flight that overnighted in Anchorage. So I had to run across the airport back to the Alaska Air terminal, and then I was able to buy my ticket on my phone, get to the gate. I got like the second to last row on this plane, and I passed 6 screaming babies on the flight. And then I look behind me, and there's a mom with 2 kids and a really little baby in her lap, and I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be such a long flight. I have tiny little ears, and it's hard for me to keep AirPods in, and so I get a little nervous about wearing them on planes because I have a fear of losing one on the plane. And of course that's exactly what happened after this really fun travel day. So I've got my flashlight on, I'm trying to find it. I see it, it's between her legs. She wasn't kicking my seat earlier, she was just rocking the baby, and I'm about to have to reach through her legs to go get my AirPod because we're landing soon, and I know that when we go down, it's gonna get away from us. So I'm like trying to get it, and I like look over at her, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, you have the baby, I'm not asking you for help, I just wanted to warn you that I'm about to reach between your legs to get my AirPod. And she just like looks at me like, why are you bothering me? So I grab my AirPod, I put it back in, I'm trying to deal, and then the girl in front of me asks me if I can help her because she's dropped her AirPod behind me. So the 2 of us had the same experience on this crazy flight that I'm not supposed to be on. I got to the airport at 2 o'clock in the morning. My flight leaves at 7. I found 2 little massage chairs in the back corner of a gate with nobody around. I sat down and started ironing out more details for this crazy trip of mine. And yeah, I found out from the homeowner just now that her husband is actually on my flight. So They leave this evening, but he was in Alaska. He was in Anchorage on business, so turns out I am flying back with her husband, and she's going to pick us both up, and I'm hoping to God that both of my suitcases are sitting in the Delta desk when I get to Fairbanks. So there were like 40 applicants for this house sit, and she interviewed me and went out of her way to be like, I feel like you're going to get the most out of this opportunity, and so I want for you to be the one to stay here. And then I told her I landed the one in Anchorage and that I was going to do some exploring in between, and she asked me what I was doing, and I was like, I'm working on it, and couldn't get any of the any of the travel agents or any of the tour groups to actually put something together. So it's last minute and I'm scrambling. She's the one who suggests that I get the U-Haul van, and she's sending me all these recommendations like I'm an outdoorsy fit person. Like, she sent me a $500 charter fishing halibut excursion. She was like, you'll have to get it all processed and frozen and shipped to you. And I'm like, I don't have a permanent address. Do you think what am I gonna do? A whole bunch of frozen fish. And then she was like, okay, well, you could do this Pangea kayak tour. And I look it up and I'm like, 15 miles of kayaking every day and you camp out? No. There's no way I survived that. So I'm sitting in the airport researching what sort of packable camp toilets I can find and trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing for these 10 days. And the logistics are hard. Like, I've gotten really spoiled being able to just hang out in a city for a month and then take random day trips and just check out Google Maps and be like, that looks good, those pictures look interesting. So I sat in my little massage chair, which is ironic because my neck hurts like hell because I didn't run it and I've been bent over my laptop for the last 5 hours. But me and this little moose are waiting for the coffee shop to open because I'm going to land with the husband, go straight to training, figure out how to take care of this dog and this house and the pool and all of the things, and then take them to the airport so that they can go on their adventure and crash hard. So that is how Alaska is going. I am doing awesome. This spoiled spinster is a little too spoiled for this kind of crazy, but I am going to figure it out. I'm determined. I just have a rocky start. We're just getting the bumps out of the way early, right? That's what I'm telling myself.